Did we just witness the NFL get away with blatant cheating against the Detroit Lions? Was it human error, or was it because somebody was on a payroll? We're going to talk about it in today's episode, folks, so stay tuned.
We used to be a team no one respected. We used to be a team no one feared. That was then. This is now.
First victory of the year on the line. Goff's got it. Back, looks, throws, end zone. Yes! Caught!
You know who we are.
10, 5, end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions.
And you know where to find us. We won't be far. We'll be on your front porch waiting for you. We are the New Era Lions. And
we are driven by Detroit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and we're diving in right now. As always, to those that are tuning in and coming back to the show, I just want to say thank you all for coming back. Thank you all for your view, your support, and your patronage. Thank you all for everything that you do. It absolutely means the world to me. And to those that are tuning into my show for the very first time, I just want to say thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for your view. I just want to say thank you all for giving my show a shot. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content, and hopefully I gain you subscribers if I've earned and deserved it. But with that being said, I just want to say to everyone, God bless. Hope you'll enjoy the show, and let's dive into it. So, here's the thing, folks. I decided to make this episode second because, in my opinion, most Lions fans are going to go straight to this topic. They're going to go straight to this point. They're not going to want to hear about how the Lions screwed themselves much sooner and much more repeatedly than the fact that the refs screwed us over. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, I'll put the link to the episode I'm referring to back up at the top. I just released it before this one. I would highly encourage all you watch that one before you watch this one. But if you choose not to, that's totally fine. You'll understand it one way or the other. But here's what I'm going to say. Understanding what happened there over the last minute or so that game was going on. I'm not talking about clock time. I'm talking about the actual time it took to transpire everything. If you take a look at what happened over the last couple of minutes of that game, you literally are coming down to two possible outcomes. There's two plausible outcomes that come to mind. Either it was human error, or there was somebody who was being told or paid to make that decision. Because to me, the circumstances that surround that game, that ending, lead to only those two possibilities. Because to me, from what I've heard, because there has been so much stuff that's already come out, it's amazing how much stuff has already come out from this game, even though at the time I'm recording this, the game's only been over for an hour and a half at most. Here's what we know. Jared Goff and the Lions offense, they drive down the field, they score a touchdown, they claw to within 1 point of the game. Very first try that they go out there for the 2-point conversion, they do a play where Goff rolls slightly to the right, goes back the other way, throws it to Taylor Decker. Taylor Decker catches it. It's a 2-point conversion that's good, initially. We then see a flag that comes in late, and there is a lot of discussion between the refs, and all of a sudden, we get a call that says illegal touching. And the reason why that call is made is that a player that was ineligible to touch the ball down the field has all of a sudden been called for illegally touching the ball, usually in terms of a pass. Now, the only person that touched the ball outside of Goff and Ragnow was Taylor Decker. So in essence, what the refs were saying is that freaking Decker had illegally touched the ball. Now, this is where this doesn't make any sense. Jared Goff, Taylor Decker, Dan Skipper, and Dan Campbell, all four of them went to the referees, specifically the head referee, Brad Allen, and all four of them said the exact same thing. Taylor Decker had reported in. But yet somehow, some way, in the hustle and bustle that happened during that, because let's understand something here. The Lions got down, they scored the touchdown. They then set up to do the first 2-point conversion. Timeout was called by Mike McCarthy. So you're telling me that within the span of 30, 45 seconds, maybe even a minute, that somehow you did not understand that Taylor Decker was the one that was reporting in as the eligible receiver. You're telling me that in all that chaos of a timeout, a literal 30-second timeout, that somehow you didn't hear that. Because let's understand something here. I'm actually going to pull this transcript up. It comes from Twitter, and it comes from a pool reporter who talked to Brad Allen after the game, who then explained what he thought happened. According to him, he said that Dan Skipper came up to him and reported as eligible, not Taylor Decker. But yet the pool reporter himself actually states, well, Taylor Decker came up and talked to you as well. What did they talk about? What was that conversation about? Oh, that was about the same conversation, that Dan Skipper came up and told me that he was the one that was reporting as eligible. That's what Brad Allen said. There's only one problem with that thought process. There's only one problem with that explanation. Please explain to me then, Brad Allen, why would Taylor Decker come up to you and have a conversation about Dan Skipper reporting as eligible? That makes no sense. Why would that be the case? Dan, that literally just makes no sense. Why would two tackles report up to you and one of them say they're reporting as eligible and the other not? Here's the thing. The ball clearly went to freaking Taylor Decker. Taylor Decker was clearly the one that went down the field. So you're going to try and tell me that Taylor Decker went over to have a conversation with you about another guy reporting as an eligible receiver when the play was designed specifically for him. That makes literally no damn sense on this planet. So in essence, what Brad Allen is trying to tell everybody is that he either, one, didn't hear the call correctly, or he decided who was going to be eligible and who was not going to be eligible. Now, I'm going to say this. That to me also makes no sense, because how was Brad Allen to know that Taylor Decker was going to get the ball? He could have suspected highly. I'm trying to give the man the benefit of the doubt. But it's like, listen here, folks. You've got two towering men, Taylor Decker and Dan Skipper. They're both towering. There's no way you can tell me that you couldn't tell who's who, and you couldn't tell me whose voice was clearly talking to you on the field. So to me, it's like, okay, you could go with the argument of human error. But here's what makes no further sense to me, is that after the flag had been thrown and there was a conference on the field, because there were at least 3 or 4 refs that all talked together amongst themselves on the field, and Jared Goff came up to them and was saying, he reported as eligible. He reported. Because here's the thing, he has the headset freaking mic that everybody else has, like Dan Campbell and the rest of them. They all knew who had reported in, not Dan Skipper. Taylor Decker had reported in. And Goff is like trying to tell them, listen, he reported in. But yet, once again, completely overruled. Nobody wanted to hear it. All they said was, illegal touching, play is nullified, must do it again. To me, that just makes no sense. Because after the game himself, Dan Campbell was asked by the reporters about the whole process. And Dan Campbell said, listen, two offensive linemen cannot report as eligible at the same time. Only one can. So again, how does that make sense? How does two offensive linemen come up to you and the one that the play is clearly designed for doesn't tell you that he's reporting as eligible? That just makes no sense. Why would a player all of a sudden just walk up to the ref to just have a chit-chat? That makes no sense, Brad Allen. Your argument, your statement literally makes no sense. What you're saying is that either one, you don't know how to hold a conversation with individuals, or that you decided that you were going to disregard what someone was telling you. Either way, the point of the matter is, Brad Allen's at fault. Because one way or the other, whether or not you want to say he took a bribe, or he intentionally decided to choose the Lions to lose, or because he was just an idiot and decided not to listen, point of the matter is irrelevant. He cost the Lions a game. He, as a head NFL referee, because let's understand something here. You don't just become a head NFL referee right off the bat. You have to go through years as an associate referee before you get to be a head NFL referee. You don't just get that job right off the bat. So somehow this man who's been refereeing for years, all of a sudden has a play where he can't remember who reported as eligible, or decided he was going to say that one person reported as eligible versus another, which wound up costing the Lions a game. Please tell me how a man like that maintains his job. Please tell me how a man like that, this is not his first time this has happened. He has had some of the most controversial calls this year and in times past. How does a man like that keep his job? And furthermore, let me ask this question. I used to not believe in the conspiracy theory thought process, but I'm really starting to now. Think about this. Think about how many bad times the refs have screwed the Lions over. There's this game right here. There's the game with the whole Megatron no catch rule, which had to be then redefined by the NFL. There was the freaking call in Dallas for the freaking Brandon Pettigrew pass interference. There was the freaking hands to the face nonsense with freaking, Trey Flowers against the Packers a couple of years ago. And the one that most people ought to remember, that I remember, who remembers the freaking coin toss in overtime with the Pittsburgh Steelers where it was it's a head-tails or a tails-head? Why is it that the Lions always seem to have the worst referees make the worst decisions that wind up costing them games? Think about it. Every single game that I talked about, those penalties either directly reflected in how the Lions lost those games or were the very reason they lost the games. I don't know what it is, but either the Lions just always get the worst NFL crews or they always get refs that just don't seem to care about their jobs. Otherwise, I just have to believe that the NFL is out to get the Lions. And to me, this is a plainly obvious one to me. Regardless of whether or not he heard the player right or not, whether or not he decided he was going to screw the Lions over or not, doesn't matter. The point of the matter is, the Lions lost a game they should have won. And on top of that, the NFL screwed the Lions out of a very crucial win for them. And think about it. Why is it that it happened in Jerry World? For the owner of the most valuable team in the NFL, it's very odd that a call would go for his team on a night when Jimmy Johnson, one of the best head coaches over the last 20, 30 years, is getting inducted into the Cowboys Ring of Honor. I find that very suspicious. I find that very coincidental. I find it that on a night where it's all about the Cowboys, the one play that is ultimately going to decide whether or not the teams win or lose goes the Cowboys' way. Some people might call that hometown refereeing. I again call it very, very dubious. I call it very suspicious. And I call it to say there shouldn't even be an investigation at this point whether or not Brad Allen heard or did not hear or made the choice. The point of the matter is Brad Allen should be fired. He should not be allowed to referee another NFL game. The point is he makes so many bad calls and it's costing teams games. And it's like, listen, why is it that the NFL, and this is kind of where I'm going to end this whole segment, I'm going to be talking about refs in general. Why is it that the NFL is the only major sports league that doesn't really hold the refs to the same standards like the NBA or the MLB? Think about it. Refs in the NFL, they're not held to a point scoring system about, how you made the good call or bad call. It's just pretty much like, hey, if you do a good job, we're going to give you more important games like playoffs, primetime, Super Bowl, thing like that. It's not like, we have a grading system where if you get a call wrong or you get too many calls wrong, you get suspended. That's what happens in the MLB and the NBA. Funny how the NFL, which is the biggest moneymaker in the entirety of all sports leagues in the NFL, or in the United States, does not do that. And every time the NFL has been called to do something to update their refs, it's very funny how the commissioner of the NFL constantly says, our refs are fine. We don't need to update them. We don't need to bring in new technology or new methods to make it better. Our refs are some of the best in the world. If they were some of the best in the world, they wouldn't be making these types of mistakes. Just saying. The point is, an NFL ref, a head ref, screwed over the Detroit Lions, does not have a good reply, does not have a good reason, and now the Lions just got screwed out of yet another important game for no good damn reason. It's that freaking simple. And there's absolutely no excuses. I don't care if he heard him or didn't hear him. I don't care if he decided to. The point of the matter is, the Lions got hosed, they got screwed, and regardless of everything else, that's what most people are going to remember. They're not going to remember all of the bad decisions that Dan Campbell made. They're not going to remember the Derek Barnes missed tackle in the end zone that could have resulted in a safety. They're not going to remember the fact that CeeDee Lamb roasted Cameron Sutton. They're not going to remember the fact that Ben Johnson's game plan was crap. They're not going to remember that the offensive line couldn't stop the defensive line of the Cowboys. All they're going to remember is that 2-point conversion that results in so much controversy that it's literally going to be the story, not only for the next week, but probably for the next couple of months. And it's going to be so big, don't be surprised if it comes up in the NFL owner offseason meeting about, we need to figure out a way to make sure that does not happen again. Because those are the types of plays that literally become eyesores for the NFL, and they don't want them. So just saying, This is a game that is going to haunt the NFL for a long time. And it's a game that Lions fans are never, ever going to freaking forget. I can tell you that right now. You can have a Lions fan that might have dementia or Alzheimer's at the age of 90, but they are going to remember this game no matter what. But anyway, wanted to talk about this as well because I know this is going to be a topic that is going to be on Lions fans' minds and hearts forever. Might as well talk about it now and get it out of the way. But with that having been said, I just want to say thank you all for watching in another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. But please, most of all, subscribe. And by also saying so, if you subscribed in the past, you got to do so at the time, or you just subscribed, you've not had a chance to do so again. Please subscribe. It helps me out. But also, please, make sure you also turn on that bell notification icon as well, so that way you never miss any more content that I push out. Again, we want to make sure you do that because subscription numbers are always going up, but if you turn on the notification icon, it makes sure you guys come back as soon as I push something else out. I also encourage y'all to do this to help in that endeavor. Share this content with your Lions friends and family members. Share it here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook. Share it anywhere and everywhere you can with everybody and anybody that you can. Again, the more people we share it to, the more it spreads, the greater the reach, which helps out the channel and also helps out discussions for this channel. And with that, I just want to say to everybody, thank you all for your view, thank you all for your time, thank you all for everything that you do. If you enjoyed the content and I gained your subscription, thank you all for joining the team, thank you all for joining the MCM family. If I still haven't joined your subscription, if I still haven't earned your subscription, hopefully you'll come back and I'll get another chance to do so. But until that time, I just want to say to everybody, God bless, and until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.